Okay, we're live, man. And can you check the framing? Talking about check the framing on the camera. Right. We'll get a slideshow ready. Okay, well, just really need that. That's an idea.
Are you playing that before I speak?
No, I opened the live stream on a different YouTube account to see it.
Before I introduce will that be playing for me?
No, it's because I had it unmuted.
Okay.
So do you? I've got the trailer for the
So you
book
play the trailer before I
now.
speak?
Yeah. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Alejandro. This is Oscar, my friend.
Chloe's voice?
Yeah. No clue. Great. Fantastic. It's not working. It says excellent connection.
Should she introduce the trailer and say,
Yeah.
so you can lead it and say, quiet everyone down, we can start with this.
Alright. So I'll cue you for that and then you can play it, then I'll introduce you.
You just going to do a mic check? Fantastic. It's not fucking working. Right. I reckon we should test it.
I hate this thing.
Yeah, it's fine.
I hate this bloody mix thing.
It's not working. That's it. Where are we gonna put that? Where are we gonna put this? Great job, Oscar.
Right, done.
No, just place it on the.
I can put it, I've got that.
Check that.
An incredible debut thriller where you have to change the past to save the future. If you had the power to change history, would you dare? The QBD Book of the Month, The Turing Protocol by Nick Croydon.
introduce yourself. And that's how it's going to roll. We're so pleased to be here tonight. It's a special night. We're going to see what it looks like. We're going to hear all about it. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Nick to take a seat. And I'd like to invite Simon Secure and Rogers to take my microphone and take us through the True Protocol.
Thank you for having me. My name is Kieran Rogers. I now work for Simon Schuster, but up until late last year, I was working for a company called Fern Press, which I started with a friend of mine, Martin Hughes. I've been in publishing for 25 years now, and Fern Press really made our name as a publisher for publishing debut authors, which is something we've done passionately and really love. And so it's an absolute joy to be here. I'm going to start with an easy one. So I suspect whenever you're in a book launch, there's always some potential writers in the crowd, people who are working on manuscripts. So quick chat to Chelsea about this. How long did it take to write a book?
So this one took me 2.5 years for the whole process. The writing itself was actually the quickest part of it. Research came first. That was about 6 to 8 months. Then I wrote the first manuscript, which you sourced. And then, as you be aware, the editing, the dreaded editing, when they take your lovely words and get out their red pen like a school teacher, Mr. Rogers, and scrub through it and took out 12 pages of D-Day. And that was disheartening. So yeah, it took about 2 years to finish that, and then of course the promotional and the printing and the selling in, it's like another 6 months. Yes, it's a long time.
Everyone wants the editing process because we go, Nick, we love your book, we're going to sign up, it's fantastic. People don't often think about the discipline it takes as an author to actually sit down and write. I think many of us can remember back to school and you've got to sign, it's 1,500 words, you're like, oh, 1,500 words. And you wait until the last person you want to do it. 80,000 words for a novel?
Yeah.
It's a commitment.
Yeah, so I'm very methodical and disciplined myself. So once I needed a plan, so having done the research and had the original idea, I set out a chapter plan and wrote about 2 paragraphs for each chapter in the plan. And then once I finished that and I was happy with it, I started the writing. And I said to myself, I knew it kind of had to be somewhere around 80 to 90,000. So I was like, right, well, I could do 1,000 words a day, which would be like, I'll give myself weekends off because I've got to be a dad, right? So it'd be like 5,000 a week.
You're a dad just 2 days a week.
Yeah. Just do that. Well, if I'm lucky 2 days, really, to be fair. I don't have a very views. So yeah, 2 days might be generous. So then, I was like, okay, well that's kind of like 20 weeks. 20 weeks I should get it done. And I pretty much stuck to that. Some days I did 2,000 words, you got in the flow. Other days you just couldn't get started. And go, oh, I'll just put it on Netflix today. Right, so but I was doing 5 to 6, 7,000 a week. And then just boom, week after week after week after week. I was lucky in that for this novel, the family had gone away. Right, so they went.
It wasn't you guys could have 3 or 4 books done by now.
Exactly. I could be like, so they'd gone back to Spain with the Padawans, and I was left on there for several months. So it was kind of a choice between Netflix, Red Wine, or getting the words done with Red Wine. I mean, that was always going to be the assist. So I just did that. I literally came home from work, made something to eat, went upstairs, got the red wine, got the computer. Right, I've got to do 2,000 words, and did it.
So if we want your next book done quicker, we just got to send us there.
Just send us there.
It's great.
She won't object. She won't object.
in this space, sort of crime fiction space and the thriller space, I often find former foreign correspondents, lawyers, politicians, etc., write the most interesting books because they have some lived experience that they can draw from. You've had a pretty interesting life. Do you want to just tell me about some of the sort of where you grew up, countries you've been, some of the wild jobs you did?
Yeah, I agree with you. I always find Grisham was a lawyer, Michael Robotham, journo. Yeah, so lawyers and journalists are fantastic writers. They're used to deadlines and they're prolific. And I remember Fiona McIntosh telling me, the best writers write from their experience. They write what they know about, right? So it's authentic. And as you say, I've had a pretty colourful life. Grew up in England, working class family, state schools, all that sort of thing. I went camping every weekend, and I thought my parents were rich because I went on holiday every weekend. Right? But we just went to the end of the garden. But then I fell in love with mathematics at school and history. I had an amazing history teacher called Mr. Harris, who used to deadly aim with a piece of chalk and a duster. And I loved everything he taught me. And then, my parents took me on to Normandy when I was 14, cycling holiday. To the beaches for Normandy landings, and fell in love with that. When I went to university, studied accountancy. I was going to be an accountant, and hated that. And I left. The day I finished the last exam, didn't even stay for graduation. Flew to Hong Kong, and turned up at Deloitte and said, "Give me a job." They did. And from there on, I just travelled with work. I've been to 55 countries. I've worked in about 12 of them. Been to every state in America bar 4. So intensive travel. And as if you read the book and you know me well, a lot of people are now coming up and saying, "Hey, there's a lot of you in this book, right?" And even Esther said to me today, she goes, "I think our intimacy is now blown wide open." Yeah, no, find out what you know. Yeah, that's what I did. Even that choice of Harrods, my first audit for Deloitte was the Harrods Bank, and I went down there and counted gold bars. Incredible.
When you write a book, there's a lot that goes into it. The obvious things, character development, dialogue, prose, they're all important. In my 25 years of publishing, I firmly believe this. The number one thing is still always quiet. Right? Lots of people forget this and write meandering books that go nowhere. How did you come up with this group?
Yeah. I had a admiration for Turing. I was appalled when I learned the story of what the British government did to him. They were totally to blame for his death because of what they did, just because he was gay. It's incredible when you think today, right? That only 75 years ago it was illegal to be gay, right? And you were persecuted, and you had to be driven underground, castrated, and then chemically castrated, right? Awful. So that kind of story resonated with me, and then I went to Bletchley Park, right? And saw what he did, and that's when I started thinking about the moral dilemma, right? It's people know it from the movie, but it's absolutely true. I've spoken to the family. He had choices to make, where he knew where every submarine from the German Third Reich was, and then he knew where the convoys were, and he chose sometimes to let convoys go and be sunk, because if he didn't, they would have known the game was up, and they would have changed the code completely, and he would have been dark. So he was playing God, right? And I just thought, wow, what's that decision like? And then you start thinking about presidents of today, they put the button. Do they? That's scary.
Yeah.
Thinking about presidents of today.
Yeah.
Right, so I kind of thought, oh, there's a good moral dilemma here. So I could see that there could be an interesting play from that. And then I thought, well, it's fiction. I can make stuff up. So I thought I'd enjoy that.
So speaking of fiction, time travel is a popular concept in novels. I watched the Diana Gabaldon Outlander series where you walk through the stones and you end up in a kiln in 16th century Scotland, which does look fun actually. When the coffee gets cold, the bestseller at the moment about a special chair and a cafe sends you back in time. My favourite one actually is The Time Traveller's Wife, where the husband has a rare genetic disorder which sends him back in time. If you and I could do that, we could go fishing, just blame it on the genetic disorder, and just work out there, but just got back in time. I don't even know.
Wasn't there?
One of the things I found fascinating in the book is the closest I read in a time travel book to something that could actually happen. You want to just talk to me a little bit about that
Yes,
concept and science?
I knew there was going to be some time slip here, and as you say, all these other books you read are just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right? You can't sit in a chair or just stand and go to the clock. Right? But I went to Geneva. I've been to the CERN Institute, right, where they've got this 24-kilometer collider magnetic accelerator, right? And they are currently throwing particles around this thing at 99.9999% speed of light. Okay? And they're trying to recreate Big Bang. So there's only this little problem of a chap called Einstein that says they can't get to 100%. And they are probably right. But I thought as an author in fiction, 99.9999 true is actually pretty believable. Right? So I was just trying to get the readers to just go, oh well, that might in the future maybe happen. Right? So rather than you just touch a rock and you're gone. And I wasn't sending a body in time. I was only sending an electronic message, a Morse code message, which are electrons. Okay. In the book, it's only not 24 kilometers, but again, there's fiction for me. That's just stretching the truth. But the truth is out there. So I thought this is much more believable, and then you get the confidence of the reader to say, okay, if you can believe in the physics, and I studied the physics, then the rest of the story can be believable too.
This is what I was going back to when you talk about plot. So good plot in this book because you can condense to one line. And the basic premise of your novel is you've created a time machine where you can send a message back in time 8 weeks. Is that enough time to change the course of history? Which is a great pitch for the book. The history in the book is really rich, really vivid, and immaculately researched. And the funny thing about that is, of course, you start by reading a history that's not accurate. And it is it's before the novelist machine has changed history as we know it. So just tell me a little bit more about your love of history and the research from into this, because it is tremendous to read the history and the real history.
Yeah, and I say, if it wasn't for the editor, it'd be more. Right? So obviously love history. I've got 80 years of history in this book. So I started World War II, and I go right up to through COVID into the Ukraine war. And what I was challenged myself to write was, again, because it's based on truth, and they always say the best line is based on truth, is hopefully confuse the reader to the point that they don't actually know whether they're in the part that I've made up or they're in the part that's real, and they have to go, and it's happened, they've told me, they have to go to Google. Did that really happen? And I think they've done that, succeeded, right? Twist at the end that maybe all about it, and I researched about this book, and numbers of divisions. authenticity makes it rich. And also, to do 80, I said but to have the 80 years all in 320 pages, I think it introduces a lot of pace. And as a reader, I love pace, and I thought I'm not going to write a book that is done.
I think we all had a time machine. We probably use it for silly things. We'd use it for financial gain, or we win some sporting contest that we lost because of some mistake. We'd probably undo some bad haircuts over the years. But what I thought is you're imagining if Turing had created a time machine, and your next thought is someone as smart as Turing would have thought about the consequences of doing so, and created sophisticated protocols around the use of the machine. And so essentially, what I want to know is really how did you choose? So the protocols basically said you can only use it for major world events, right? So how did you choose the four major world events?
Yeah, so the four major world events, obviously World War II was going to always be there. That's where he started. So as I started at World War II, there's a lot going on after that, but nothing massive. You know, Cold War was a bit, political rather than people shooting each other. So then, for me, 9/11, right? It was obviously a major event that changed the world forever, and woke the Americans up. I've got COVID in there, but that comes up with another part of the story about sometimes you can't change things. Right? There is no magic button, even if you had a time machine.
Yeah.
Right? And I thought that was good. Right? That was kind of like sending readers down a rabbit hole. Right? And then I thought, well, what's the present day thing? Well, the Ukraine war, I think it's probably the biggest thing. But I do mention other wars and the futility of war. I think there's I've got friends here from Serbia. The Serbo-Croat war, horrible, and again, it was hard to change. So I think I showed that even with a time machine, even being in government and having power, some things, even with that, just can't be changed.
We did touch on it before. There is a bit of a Spanish life story. It's around the book. I think Spaniards are often sort of described as passionate, fiery. Did you think about getting a sensitivity read before you showed it to Sarah?
No. In fact, I gave her the book to read, and then I was like, looking at the page number, she was asking, she's going to get this. And then I saw her face flush. And I thought, bingo, I did it.
Nice work. I just want to quickly talk about Harrods, because it's there and it's on the cover and it's such an incredible building. I think everyone in the world knows about Harrods. Your personal experience with Harrods is fascinating in stories.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yes, so I started as an auditor. My first audit in Harrods, through the bank. It was an amazing place. I was there for the first day of the January sales, and they took, this was in the 80s, they took £6 million in cash, right, on the first day. They all came down on these trolleys with armed guards, well, not armed, but guards, and me, right, and I had to go into the counting room and make sure they, transferred the cash and watch all these counters put it into the machines, which was like just fascinating. The bank itself, I remember there's a great story, but it didn't really book. I was checking the accounts of the holders, and there was a guy who was a commercial attaché to Persia. So this is before the deposition of the Tsar. And this guy had £10,000 in his bank, always, until the event, and it went to 10 million. Right? And so I went up to my partner and said, he doesn't even sign the cards, he doesn't sign the checks, he just writes it out, £20,000 and gets them up. And I said, I think this might be dodgy. And the guy from Deloitte said, Nick, you're absolutely right. Great letter to this account holder. And then he tore it up in front of my face. Said, "You weren't." Because he was asked to speak. Right? So so that was back in the day before money laundering was even a big thing. And then I went to the tunnels. Right? So underneath Harrods, there are these tunnels that literally go streets, right, all the way, streets and streets all around Harrods. And they use them for stock. So it goes to their warehouse, and they move the stock in these like monitors, right? And then they have these chutes that go up to the shop floor. Because if you go to house, you won't see cartons like you do at QE. You don't see cartons because we haven't got the so digging. Yeah, so then they shove the stock up. They get some packs, and the carton goes down, and it goes onto the floor, and it's just brilliant. Right? And they had a safety deposit centre. Right? So I just had to take one of those. I was 22, no month, and I'm going like, oh, that's a safety deposit box, right? Because it's cool, right? Put a deck of cards in there or something. But I kept that for years, and that always kept with me in Harrods, the experience I had. And the only other amazing thing working there was the restaurant. The Start restaurant was amazing, right? And it was everything's a pound, right? So it's just like trout almondine, but a pound, right? Amazing.
So the knowledge time machine is living on the ground.
So,
This. We're very lucky to be chosen for QBD Book of the Month for August.
very lucky.
And the QBD buyers are here, and of course they're some of the best buyers in the country. But if hypothetically you had an knowledge time machine, is there a particular book you would have bought less stock on or a bit more stock on?
I'm sure they would have.
I just want to talk a little bit about the Community Book of the Month program. So I think a lot of people know how successful it is as a program. A lot of people still don't really think about the contribution it makes to Australian writing. So literally people like Trent Dolan, who's a superstar of Australian writing from this state, helped launched by you guys and your team out there.
He wrote since then.
Yeah, and so I just really wanted to say, I think debut authors are finding it harder than ever at the moment, just because of retail conditions and funny macro things like the onslaught of TikTok and US content coming here and the like as well. So I just wanted to say I really appreciate everything QBD does for all debut authors. And this is really some of the questions, really a statement to you guys. So I really encourage you to, Nico has to sell 2 copies to every person. He's not allowed in the house, so not wrong. So one for your brother, for your dad, for your uncle, for your friends. I'll get a couple of copies. Nick's going to sign them all, of course, as well. Anything else you wanted to say, Brian?
Yeah, I would like to just say thanks to everyone who's turned out for me tonight. It's very unusual and feeling a bit weird that for 2.5 years we've talked about it, fishing, and it was always like, oh, it might happen. To finally be here, with the book out in the world. I'm in safe territory in this room, right? But there's others out there. Now you're going to find out what happens, right? And what they think. And I think that's quite confronting. And I'd also like to say a big thank you to Estelle. And thanks to the boys. My tech genius over there, and to my super salesperson in Nicola. So I couldn't have made this book without their support. Right? And I'm sure that's true for every author. I look forward to that supporting me for the future and doing other things for people.
I just want to close by saying I've been publishing a long time now. I've launched lots and lots of books from lots and lots of beloved authors. I've never launched a book from a good friend, so I just wanted to congratulate him, tell him how proud of you I am. I honestly still blown away by the fact that anyone can write a novel. I just think it's one of the more impressive life feats you can do. So congratulations.
Thank
well done. And I think we'll just raise glasses for those who have them. Yeah. With that, the Touring Club Bell officially launched. Congratulations.
Kieran, thank you so much. Nick, congratulations. And gee, chip off the old block, eh? And you know, it is really lovely. And I think if you look at the bigger picture of life, you know, we so often talk about people who run an industry or run a big business who have no idea exactly how it works. And I think it's such an enormous thing that you've done to put yourself out there. And now no one cares. You know, it's not an accountant on your TV station. It's an analytical company that actually has written a book. And it is a really exciting thing for you to do. And I think really amazing for all the staff that are here tonight, but all those that know and love you as well. To see what you've done, it's a huge achievement. So congratulations to you and the whole family. Enjoy the hospitality extending, buy a book, and have a drink. It's on Nick, ladies and gentlemen.
Having a fantastic time.
So we've got food outside. So get some drinks, get something to eat, and think. Oh yeah, and also there's an after party at home if anyone wants to come.
I think we have a lot of people using this right now.
Oh, is that the
And it's-
camera?
it's like-
Glitching.
I've recorded everything with this one.
Good, back up.
If I had prepared it with a few minutes in advance and had one of the IT guys who had, hello, yes? And if I had one of the, anyway. It's gonna end this thing.
Oh, nice to meet you. It's such a nice meeting you. Yeah.